Hi, I'm Eric Schumacher-Rasmussen. I'm the editor and VP of Streaming Media, and I'm here at the Northern Waves TV conference in Oslo, the inaugural event. And I'm here with Silvija Seres, who's a scientist and entrepreneur who gave a keynote a few moments ago that I think encouraged the people in attendance to broaden our thinking when it comes to what is TV, what is media, what is it that we're doing here. And one of the things you talked about is that there's a danger in defining what media is and what TV is too narrowly, and that in order to survive and thrive and advance in the future, that people who work in the media and TV industry need to sort of break out of those silos and look at media and storytelling from new perspectives. Could you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah. So I think the danger here is that there is a huge convergence between all the different kinds of industries going on currently. And if you have a competitor like a traditional media company saying, well, this is what we do and this is what we're really good at, and this is how we work, and then you have another entrant as, say, Amazon, who really doesn't care about these definitions. They'll just go and do whatever they believe the world needs and they can make money off. I think they're going to be very much more competitive because they can move faster and they can move more recklessly. So it's that irreverence of youth that I'm kind of missing in many of the media companies. And I think we buy the rhetorics of these new kind of cyber totalitarians a little too quickly when it comes to media's role as well. You know, it's all about ads suddenly. Right. And when you listen to the conversations going on about new technologies and, personalization, yes, but not because you really want the people to broaden their personal perspectives. You want to be better at advertising to them. And I think people are kind of forgetting what the real role of media is, which is to keep the world informed in an objective and interesting way. And I think I'm kind of asking, I read this wonderful book called World Without Mind recently by Franklin Foer, and it's such an interesting perspective on, he's a traditional journalist meeting a very new world owner in a big, important magazine that's going through a digital transformation metamorphosis. And his experience of, how it can't all be about the traffic. We need to find some new KPIs. Our social purpose is about something else than just the number of minutes, the number of eyeballs. And so I'm looking for that kind of almost preacher pride, that the sacred goalkeeping post that media people were so proud of. And I feel they are very on a defensive footing now. And nobody can tell stories as good as you can. And I don't care if the other guys know how to optimize them for clicks. Right. I want you to optimize them for my soul and my future curiosity. And I still think there is space for traditional media to be a bit kind of uncompromising on that sort of a positioning and actually win back some of the audience that's getting quite disheartened about all the polarization and echo chambers and the nonsense it brings with it.
Right, and one of the things you mentioned in your presentation was you talked about how quickly things are moving and that there's a lack of fair competition because these huge behemoths can move so quickly and can impose their will without giving smaller, more traditional companies a chance to respond. But at the same time, it almost sounds like you're encouraging the media, at least, to sort of stick to its guns and realize that in the long term, there's still value in what might be viewed as traditional media roles and purposes, rather than saying we have to find a way to compete with Google or have to find a way to stay, to stay competitive with Amazon.
Well, I think at the moment, media companies are competing at the wrong game and they're following somebody else's rules at it as well. So, of course, there is a role for traditional media. I think the whole purpose of things like broadcasters is to keep the population educated and informed and objective and positive about the future. And when you know that, the fake news that travel fastest are very rarely positive news and very often not true, I just think it can't all be about creating traffic efficiencies. So one of the things that I'm really concerned about, yes, things are moving fast. We have this digital infrastructure that's changing the way that we communicate with our customers or viewers, the way we create content, the way we plan the distribution of that content, the way we partner, the way we... so all the production and all the distribution is challenged. But I think that it's not all about creating, sales efficiencies, which is what we seem to be doing now. There are three buckets I like to talk about that are influenced by this whole technological turmoil. One is the efficiency bucket. Do the same thing as you did before, just better, faster, cheaper. So be quick about figuring out how to personalize. We talk about personalization, we're not really good at it. Media companies have so much data about me, they only use it to give me more ads that I really don't care about. Come on and tell me what I need to learn to fill the gaps in my understanding of the world. Then the second bucket is finding new ways to serve the audience, new products, new business models. And here I think we need to understand that, say the YouTube bloggers, they have a business model that I think most TV people simply don't get. The esports people have a business model that people just don't get. So you need to figure out, well, maybe I need to be packaging this differently. It's still the same amazingly important information, but it's packaged in some sort of a gamification clothing, in some VR clothing, in some drone filming clothing. I don't know, but you guys need to be thinking about new business models. And then the third bucket is about social role, which is all about, putting the meaning back into this whole game of media. Sure. And I think, yes, the world is moving fast, and technology is the main factor of that speed, but the way that people are trying to approach this problem is wrong. They're putting the cart in front of the horse. Basically, they're putting the technology question in front of the purpose question. So, I think we need to decide how we are going to work differently, what we're going to sell in new ways, and why. And once we've started with why, and all that stuff, we can start thinking about, well, what's my unique technology cocktail? Which new heads do I need to hire? Which old heads do I need to retrain? And then let's try. And so it's not about technology, but it's about the need for speed in figuring out your new role and purpose.
Sure. And one of the things I noticed was that I believe nowhere in either your presentation or during our discussion have you used the word content, which, simply sort of levels all information as if it were equal and just content to be sold and packaged for clicks. And I think that's an important distinction to make, that too often people even in the media business find ourselves referring to what we're writing or what we're producing merely as content instead of treating it with the value that it deserves beyond simply what clicks it can give us.
I think that's really important, because I think if you just think that a ship is a ship, then you shouldn't be in shipping. Right. And if you just think that content is content, then maybe you shouldn't be in media business. There should be some sort of a professional pride that has to do with you choosing a certain area to excel in and then understanding what that really means. And to me, that has been perverted in very many industries, because what we are fighting for is traffic, no matter what. And then, everything becomes a mash. And, there is this uniform understanding. If we measure the quality of our content in terms of, how many eyeballs, for how long, what kind of ARPU, how easy to sell, and then that's what we discuss in these conferences. Right. And that's a bit like pressing everybody to go in the same corner of Walmart, no matter what they actually needed to buy originally. While what I'd really like to see is what are these boutique content providers that are really proud to do this, and then finding efficient business models. I know it's very, very difficult. But then, life's difficult. Right. Somebody says, it's your job and you wanted it, so now go do it. And that's what I'd kind of like to say also to media executives. Come on, guys. You have the most important social role of any profession. You are forming my picture of the world, right? And so please don't leave that to some AI algorithms that are going to optimize that sort of an influence on me based on my ability to spend bucks on that content. Try to do more, because I really believe that the original motivation was more. I go back sometimes to a quote that I love by Winston Churchill, who said, first we build our houses and then they build us. And, the same thing goes for technologies in any industry. We adopt them, we build them in order to create new efficiencies, and then we start creating content to fit into those new patterns. And what I'm saying is that we need to consider what's the main essence of the patterns that we should be kind of developing here.
Sure, that's a great place to close, and thanks again for sharing your thoughts with us here at the Northern Waves TV conference in Oslo.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.